In this video, I am going to share with you a step-by-step pattern of making this beautiful puffy sunflower motif with all the tips so that you can follow and make it perfect every single time. So let's get started. Hey guys, welcome to DIYkraftZ. For making this project, I am using 4-ply medium weight 100% acrylic yarn with 4mm crochet hook. Let's begin by making a magic circle. Leave a long starting tail end and then wrap the working end around your fingers for 5 times. That's 3, 4 and 5. And now hold the circle as shown in the video. From the center, take the working end using your crochet hook, hold the loop on the hook and then carefully make chain 1. And this will secure all the 5 threads at one place. And make one more chain, so that's chain 2. Now we are going to make all the petals in this center. So yarn over, insert the hook into the center, take the yarn and pull up a loop to match the height of the starting chain 2. So that's the puff petal. So yarn over, and I'm doing it for the second time. Take the yarn and pull up a loop and match the height with the previous loop. Yarn over again, insert the needle in the center, take the yarn and match the height with the previous loop. Likewise, you have 7 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw the yarn through all the loops on the hook. Yarn over and then make chain 1. So that's your first puff stitch in the center. So chain 2 is also included with the puff stitch. And now for the second puff petal, yarn over, insert the needle in the center and pull up a loop to match the height with the previous puff stitch. And again yarn over, pull up the second loop, and that's the third time yarn over and pull up a third loop. Now with the 7 loops on the hook, yarn over and draw the yarn through all the loops on the hook. Now yarn over and make chain 1. That's the second puff stitch. And now if you observe carefully, there will be a chain 1 gap in between these 2 petals. So we have to make chain 1 after completing each puff stitch. Now this is the third petal and we are going to do the same thing. Yarn over and pull up a loop and repeat that for 3 times to make 1 puff stitch. Yarn over and complete the puff stitch and then make chain 1. That's the third puff petal. Again yarn over and from the center pull up a loop, and this puff petal also should match with the previous puff petal. And then that's the second loop. Now yarn over again and from the center pull up the third loop. So you have 7 loops on the hook, yarn over and draw the yarn through all the loops and then chain 1. That's the fourth petal. And likewise we are going to make 10 petals in the center with chain 1 gap in between each stitch. And do not forget to include the starting tail end throughout the project. Also make sure that all the puff stitches are of equal height. And once all the 10 stitches are completed, you will see almost the center is filled with the puff stitches, and we have done the final chain 1. Now you can close your first row by making a usual slip stitch, or you can join them using a process that I am going to show that to you right now. Firstly, fasten off your thread. Now close the magic circle using the starting tail end. You can pull it out and adjust the hole in the middle. If you wanted to close it completely, just pull it harder until the center closes fully. If not, if you want to have a small gap in the center, you can just pull it lightly. Now let's close the first row using a tapestry needle. Take the closing tail end into the tapestry needle and now insert the needle into both the loops of the first puff stitch as shown in the video. So from the front side, insert the needle and pull up the yarn. And now put the needle back into the back loop of the last stitch. And now you can see how nicely the row will be closed. Now insert the needle into one of the stitch and secure it by making a knot. So this completes the first row. And then now you can hide the tail end into couple of stitches on the back side of the puff stitches. Now trim the excess thread close to the project. Make sure you are not cutting any of the threads from the puff stitch. Now for the starting tail end also we are doing the same thing. Insert the tail end into the tapestry needle. Firstly secure this by making a knot. After that you can just insert the tail end into the couple of puff stitches nearby so that the tail end will be nicely secured. And after that you can trim the excess thread close to the project. So this gives the center part of the puff stitch. Take the puff stitch on the front side, not on the back side, and now let's start making the petals for the sunflower. So for that I am using yellow color acrylic yarn. Now put your needle into the chain 1 gap in between any 2 puff stitches in your first row. Now take the yellow color yarn, and come out of the chain 1 gap. Now make chain 2 to start with the puff stitches. Now we are going to do the puff stitch. Yarn over, insert the needle into the same chain 1 space and pull up a loop that matches with the height of a chain 2. Yarn over and pull one more loop from the same chain 1 space to get the equal height with the previous one, and do the same thing for third time. So this makes the half of the petal of sunflower, and now we are going to do the same thing on the top of the puff stitch. So insert the needle on the puff stitch and pull 3 more loops, and all the 3 loops should match with the height of your previous 3 loops. So now if you count, you will have a total of 13 loops on the hook. So 3 loops from the first one and 3 loops from the second one. Each loop, as we have dropped by making a yarn over, you will have 13 loops. Now yarn over and draw the yarn out of 12 loops carefully, and you will have 2 more loops on the hook. Now yarn over and draw the yarn through both the loops. So let's call that as a chain, and now make chain 2. So we are now making a picot stitch to give the tip of the sunflower petal. So put your needle back into both the loops and also the loop while completing that last stitch, and then make a slip stitch. So this one we call it as a chain 2 picot stitch. Now we have to close the petal, so make chain 2, and now put your needle back into the same stitch where we have done the second half of the petal and make a slip stitch. So this gives you the first puff stitch flower petal for the sunflower. And if you can see both the sides, it will look nice and fluffy. Now for the second petal, put your needle into the chain 1 gap, into the next chain 1 gap. And then we will start making the second petal just like how we have done the previous one. So for the second petal, let's begin with chain 2. Yarn over, insert the needle into the chain 1 space and pull up a loop to match the height of the chain 2. Now hold all the loops, yarn over, insert the needle back into the chain 1, and that's the second petal, second loop. Yarn over and pull up the third one. So you will have 7 loops on the hook. Yarn over. For the second half of the petal, put your needle onto the puff stitch, and then the second loop, yarn over, the third loop. So every time whenever you drop a loop, make sure all the loops are of the equal height. So again, make sure you have 13 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw the yarn out of the 12 loops. Now you have 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over and make a chain 1. Now for the tip of the petal, make chain 2 and then a picot stitch. So insert the needle back into those 3 loops and then make a slip stitch. So to give the clean finishings, tighten it, the slip stitch, so it will be nice and sharp pointed. Now close this petal by making chain 2 and make a slip stitch on the top of the puff stitch. So this completed the second puff petal. Again for the third petal, into the next chain 1 space, make a slip stitch and begin with a chain 2. Again pull up a loop from the chain 1 gap for 3 times and on the puff stitch for 3 more times. So total of 12 loops. Along with the starting loop, you will have 13 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw the yarn through the 12 loops. Yarn over again and make a puff stitch. After that, chain 2 picot stitch, tighten the slip stitch, and now make chain 2 and close the petal by making a slip stitch to the same stitch. So this completed the third petal. Likewise, we will have a total of 10 petals for our sunflower. Now into the next chain 2 space, make a slip stitch and make the fourth petal, just like we have done the previous all the petals. Once we have done all the petals, now this is the 10th one I am doing it right now. Then chain 2, picot stitch. Now tighten up the slip stitch to make it sharp and pointed. Then close the petal by making chain 2 and then slip stitch into the same stitch. Now chain 1 and fasten off. You can leave some 2 to 3 inches of tail end and then trim the excess thread. Now fasten off, and now we are going to close the project by hiding all these tail ends, like weave in and then trim the threads. So take the tail end into the tapestry needle, set the needle into a couple of puff stitches next to it, and then trim the excess thread close to the project. And we have to do the same thing with the starting thread of yellow color. Insert the tail end into the nearby stitches and then trim the excess thread close to the project. Now pull and adjust the picot stitches on all the petals, and that's it. With this you have made yourself your beautiful puffy sunflower motif. I hope you all enjoyed watching this tutorial. Do give this pattern a try and let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. The written pattern for this project is given in the description. Do check it out. Do not forget to share your work to me on the Instagram. See you all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please like the video, share it and subscribe to DIYkraftZ.